We saw last week that Adam and Eve, the first humans, were offered this very tantalizing thing from the snake. To be like God, to gain wisdom. It was beautiful. It was desirable. And we're going to see today that the lie was exposed immediately, and it did not produce what they wanted. It did not deliver on all of those hopes and promises. Genesis 3:7 through 13. During that day's cool evening breeze, they heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden, and the man and his wife hid themselves from the Lord God in the middle of the garden's trees. The Lord God called to the man and said to him, "Where are you?" The man replied, "I heard your sound in the garden. I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself." He said, "Who told you that you were naked? Did you eat from the tree which I commanded you not to eat?" The man said, "The woman you gave me. She gave me some fruit from the tree, and I ate." The Lord God said to the woman, "What have you done?" The woman said, "The snake tricked me, and I ate." Okay, so we're continuing on this journey. We saw last week them eating of the tree and pursuing wisdom in their own eyes rather than God's wisdom. And it's fascinating to me to see what actually happens. The snake promised them these great things, that they would be like God, knowing good and evil. It's beautiful. It's for wisdom. But we see it's very telling. The first thing that happens to them doesn't look very good. It doesn't look very lofty. It doesn't look like they're becoming like God. God is chilling in the cool part of the day. And what are they doing? They're hiding from God. They're afraid. So when Adam replies to the Lord, "Well, I heard your voice." And instead, when you hear God, wouldn't that be a great thing? But I heard your sound, and so I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself. The snake's promise turns out to be a lie. We already knew that. But look, just the contrast of what he's offering and what happens really jumps out to me. So God knows, of course, but He's talking to them now. They've become like children. They're not wise. They're hiding themselves because they're afraid. Who told you that you were naked? Why are you ashamed of that now? Because back at the end of chapter 2, they were naked with no shame, and now they're naked with shame, and they're hiding themselves. Did you eat from the tree I commanded you not to eat? And here I want to just spend some time on this last section here, because if we think back, the kind of the flow of creation, the order of creation that we saw here, there were really three primary relationships. There was God with humanity. We were created as these equal partners to be image bearers of God in harmony with each other, and we were created to be God's gardeners over creation. So we have this little plant right there. So we have God, us, and God's creation. And we had this perfect harmony. We had great relationship with God. We could walk with Him in the garden and hear His voice. We had great relationship with each other. We were partners, right? We talked about a couple weeks ago, Eve being created as the helper, which is this strong, powerful word of deliverer, of strength. It's this perfect partner to be God's image bearer in the world. And we had a great relationship with the planet. We were God's gardeners, after all. And look, in one fell swoop, every single relationship is broken. Sometimes we think of sin. The Bible calls our rebellion apart from God's sin, and we think of it as a list of rules that we break, and so we're going to be punished. But it's more insidious than that. I like to think of sin like a virus. It seeped in, and the symptoms infected every relationship in creation. Because look, the man starts blaming the only two people he knows on the whole planet. The woman you gave me, right? And so he breaks his relationship with the woman and with God in one fell swoop. The Lord turns to the woman, "What have you done?" And the woman says, "Well, the snake, part of your creation, tricked me, and I ate." And so this choice that was laid before them to see that it was beautiful and take wisdom on your own instead of God's wisdom broke every relationship in creation. And it's good to see that. This is our origin story. What did sin do? What did this virus of sin do? And it broke everything. All of the hardship and struggle and pain in our world, our feeling of lostness and our inability to hear God's voice, our the strife and anger, all the isms, racism, sexism, violence between each other, and the way that we exploit and abuse God's creation and don't really step into our role as God's gardeners. All of that started right here in this, what we call the fall. The woman you gave me and the snake tricked me. All of the relationships of creation are broken. Well, for me, the challenge of today's text centers around those three relationships that we talked about. Our relationship with God, our Creator, our relationship with people, our close relationships and across the world, and our relationship with the planet that God has placed us in. We were meant to live in this harmony with all of them. Maybe a challenge, an encouragement this week is to think about one of those categories. Is there a way that you could make a concrete step toward fixing some of those relationships? Maybe it's your relationship with God and it's been lacking lately and you haven't spent enough time really listening to His voice, pursuing Him. Maybe it's a particular person in your life that you can reach out and try to make some sort of amends. Take maybe even just a baby step toward reconciliation and a better relationship with them. Or maybe it's the planet. Is there a way that God is exciting you and giving you a calling to go and be a part of gardening again, of taking care of His world?